need to put your camera a little above so your head is not cut off.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute.
So it's 4 o'clock, and we are very excited today to actually have a guest speaker who's all about vivaciousness, color, and stories. And it's only right that we end this year with something so beautiful and welcome in the next year with it. So, without further ado, I will start the introductions. And let's start with the RMZ Foundation, which is the body which is helping these artists and all the galleries and institutions actually reach out to the general public. So starting with the RMZ Foundation. In the 4 years of its engagement, as a young but serious national foundation, RMZ Foundation engaged with artists and institutions worldwide to showcase evaluated monumental works of important Indian and international artists across cities in India in public spaces through the RMZ collection, which has to its credit 45 plus of such invaluable works of art, with an agenda to go to 100 plus works in the next 2 years. Our exclusive collaborations and outreach programs with noted institutions and artists have gained us good stead in our movement towards that vision and act as an effective and well engaged platform to the public at large. Our outreach programs reach out to the layman, students, art researchers, writers, cultural vanguards, galleries, museums, and collectors, both in India and globally, and our list is fast growing. Welcome to this special webinar today that is a journey we all take together to know more about us, the world we live in, and the various perspectives and lenses of that world through art. Now, I would love to introduce all of you to Sunena Anand, who's the director of Art Alive Gallery. So Art Alive Gallery was established in 2001 and believes in engaging art enthusiasts and artists in visual dialogue to aid the emerging perspectives in the realm of Indian contemporary art. They have produced some of the finest shows and publications intended to bridge the gap between the artists and the patrons to nurture a culture of engagement with art. With our guest speaker, Jayasri Burman, Art Alive Gallery has organized major shows, including A Mythical Universe at Lalit Kala Academy, New Delhi, and released publications on her life and work as a part of their engagement with the artist. So welcome, Sunena, to this webinar. And I hope we have a great time having these conversations, which we've been cherishing so far. Now, I would actually now like to introduce you to the reason why we are able to have this webinar today. And that is a lot of credit actually goes to our managing trustee of the RMZ Foundation, Mrs. Anu Menda. Ms. Menda, I'd like you to take the floor and introduce the artist as well, please.
Thank you, Amrita. Good evening, everybody. We're extremely happy to have with us this evening Jayasri Burman. Her art truly refashions a mythical universe, acquiring an entirely novel meaning and nuance where people are focused with nature seamlessly. She is deeply meditative in her art. A brief introduction. Jayasri Burman is a contemporary Indian artist born in Kolkata in 1960. Her formal training in art took place in Kala Bhavan, Shantiniketan. She studied printmaking under the guidance of Monsieur Césaire in Paris. Jayasri Burman's imagery celebrates womanhood in a dreamlike and lyrical quality with a unique sensitivity which is inspired by Indian folk elements. Wishing to locate figures of universal myth in today's space, a world of fragments, Jayasri portrays how we can end the immediate environmental struggles with individual awareness and a collective wish for peace. Her works establish the strength of belief which radiates a power, and she sincerely wishes to keep it alive, woven with faith. She has held many shows, including Gazing into the Myth in Hong Kong in 2014 and A Mythical Universe at Lalit Kala Academy, New Delhi in 2010. She has exhibited widely across India and abroad, thus establishing the popularity of her work in Singapore, Hong Kong, Switzerland, London, Germany, Tokyo, New York, San Francisco, and many other countries. Along with many solo shows, she also has a series of dedicated publication, Mythical Universe, Antaryatra, to her credit. In 1985, she was awarded the National Academy Award. The Government of India released a series of commemorative stamps with 4 of Jayasri's works on the occasion of International Women's Day in 2007. She is represented in several public and private collections all over the world, including National Gallery of Modern Art. Recently, she was also invited at the President's House as an artist in residence, and she has also won the prestigious awards such as Icon, Devi Awards, and the Fiki Awards twice. Over to you, Sunena. Welcome, Jayasri.
Thank you. Thank you, Anu. Thank you for such a lovely afternoon that we are able to do every few weeks with RMZ Foundation. It's a pleasure to be here today, and it's actually a delight to have Jayasri Burman with us. To begin with Jayasri today, Jayasri, it'll be very interesting to start this conversation, taking you back to your work, which you did when you were 13 years old, which looks like a group of people, crowd of people going into a pandal. So I think let's begin our conversation today with this work of yours, which you did in 1973.
Actually, I was very fascinated looking at all the pandals, or so colorful pandals around us. And whenever I saw the huge crowds, big queues to go to inside the pandal and looking for the idol, it was fascinating. So colorful, so many characters, so many things happening together. Till now, today, I also fascinated by this crowd. And I got award for that. That was my memorable painting and first award in my life. So it was wonderful.
Nice. No, it's interesting to see that how your work, is moved from that work that you did at the age of 13 and when you joined Shanti Niketan. And here we see this work where there's a free flowing, your forms are, your brush is free flowing, breaking the cat over there, and this woman, which you did in 82, and which is really when we see your works later now, there is a strong connection and reflection of how you looked at the imagery coming into your work. So tell us about this work and the Shanti Niketan experience when you joined Shanti Niketan.
Shanti Niketan, it's beautiful because it's a very, I was there for 2 to 3 years, but I taught a lot of things. And first, which I have learned, that is to think on my own, to look at everything with my own eyes and own mind and heart. So that's the first thing. And this is the cat you were talking about, the painting, and she is trying to have a fish, because this is a small little city and a place. You see the cats are going to the wall to wall and they are enjoying the fish. That's a little memorable work, and I wanted to do it with a bold stroke. This is pastel actually. The other one is the woman, you can see she's looking through the window. She generally in a small town, and girls are inside maximum time, and they had the wish to go out. So that's the little thought process had gone through my mind, and I did that work.
So Jayasri ji, when we look at these works, somewhere, the reminiscence of how Shanti Niketan functions in developing the artist as an independent thinking person, you can see that the cat, for the viewers here, the cat on the left-hand side, usually what would happen is the students would define the lines and the colors would be set within them. But Jayasri ji from the very beginning was using her line and form in a way where it was released. It was released of it for its own freedom without letting go of the context of the subjects which you see. So Jayasri ji, I think you were an independent soul from the very beginning when you started out, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay, so here's an interesting work which we have. It's called Hariye Java. Jashiji, you'll have to give us a translation on this.
Java is the lost. You are lost in a beautiful nature. It
Yeah.
is done in south of France, where my uncle and aunt Shakti Burman and Maite Delta, they live. They have a beautiful house in south of France, Ante.
Right.
So, and from Ante, they're beautiful from their house. Their window, I could see the little grapes, landscape, and trees, a beautiful place. And I was doing drawings and paintings, and I got a copper plate and I was etching on that directly. And the little bird top of that, you can see, that is actually my uncle's bird, because he draws bird like this. So I copied his, because I wanted to be memorable this print, especially because I was there. So, so
I mean,
it is sweet, because I was very young. So very little thoughts behind it, but it was.
So there has been an education which has been about experience. You've lived among us artists. You've been exposed very early in life, and you can see the dexterity of an etching over there, which was otherwise, it's very difficult to get that kind of quality when you're that young. And here you have In the Garden and Motherhood. You have these two works. Jeshiji, a little bit about them. They seem to have a very European context to it.
Yes.
So
Yes. As I told you, I was there in Paris and London and other places. I saw many museums that time. And when I came back with full of my knowledge and, exposed to the international art, I saw Musée d'Orsay, Impressionist. I was like, whoa, wow. So when I came back, I started doing oil painting. And these are the very old works of mine, these very big works. Yes. And you can see the girls are in the garden, and I wanted to do it in pastel and bold colors. Yes. And great fun to do that. Yes. And also the other painting, the girl is holding a little bird. I later on realized I was influenced by Picasso's, the boy with a pigeon. So I did it, but it was, frankly speaking, I didn't copy it. But it came back from, and now when I look at it, I could feel that there is a, lot of times we observe things, but it comes back to your work.
Absolutely.
So it was a journey of mine. Yes. So
okay,
good journey, good learning.
Yeah. Okay, so for again for the viewers, if you look at these works, you do notice Jayasri Burman's color palette, and you will see the evolution as it goes along. The second thing to note is the painting on the left, the girl with the pigeon. This kind of a motif changes and comes through her work subconsciously as we go along in all the eras of her working career. We'll see that as we go along, but do keep a note on these. Now, coming to the next one, this is Jelly, which is again an etching. Now, for anyone who hasn't seen or been through knowing what an etching is actually done on a plate. And then, there's scratchings on the plate, and then the paper is actually pushed onto it. So getting the kind of colors and the lines and the dexterity with which it has happened is very, very difficult. So Jayashree is one of the few people who's even managed to do this in such a colorful way. Etchings are very difficult to handle otherwise. So Jayashree, a little bit about Jele, because there seems to be a personal anecdote to this work, which was made in '84.
Yeah, this is Jele and Fisherman. Yes. So I went to a fish aquarium with my son. He was very, very young. So I was holding his hand, but I was lost in the aquarium looking at the floating fish. My mind and soul, I was floating with them. So next day I came back and I went to the studio and I started in a zinc plate directly with the steel needle, and I drawn it. And later on I realized that is the reflection of my aquarium visit. And I got National Academy Award for this, and this work has gone to Biennale in Germany. Yes. So it's a big, confidence I got after doing that.
Yes. And also now we see the startings of the little animals, the fish at the back, which has started to cross the painting. So you do use your artistic freedom quite a bit in your works. So even though they are, they relate to reality, or they relate to the form, they yet have a formless quality within them. And there is a sense of wonder with it. Moving on to the next one, Anushri, thank you. So we have here Talsari. Now, again, just for everyone's knowledge, Jayashree actually has always been working, subconsciously. When she starts off her works, she doesn't have a pre-connected way of thinking. She goes with the flow, and she experiences the world outside, and she sees color and form, etc., in it, and you will find that this happens with it. Anushri, can you go to Talsari, please? Yeah. So, Jayashree, a little bit about this one. Again, I think it was one of your travels in which you painted this work.
Yeah, I was traveling with Paresh to Talsari, and both of us were sitting outdoor. He was doing outdoor all the time. Those days, he used to sit outside
Right.
under the sun. And
Yeah.
it is, maybe it's raining, we are sitting under the shed and doing painting like that. And that just I started, roaming around with him and working. So Talsari is a little village, and there is a lot of little ponds with lotus and ducks around. And at the same time, it's a seaside. So we were sitting on the seashore and we are doing work. So I combined the both, like Talsari feelings. There is both the things, small little ponds, water ponds, where these ducks are floating and lotus and all, and there is a huge never-ending ocean where the sheep is there. So it's not sheep, it's a boat, and the boat is there and boatmen are there. Right. So it's a journey, and it was like kacha, it's very raw, like it came directly off the canvas. So, and I became very free, like a childlike feelings.
Yes. So we also see a lot of water in your works. With the Jayashree, the water actually has a kind of an emotional flowing quality to it, and you will see that as it comes along, and it has certain connotations or metaphoric value. Going forward, again, we go to her travels, and as we were talking earlier, she's influenced by whatever she sees around her, and it kind of seeps in through the canvas or through the paper, uh, in a very kind of a subconscious activity where the strokes kind of just come and spill over to the paper. So Jayashree, a little bit on both Shimla and Kulu, please.
Yeah. So as me and Paresh, both of us are traveling, and we are working in summer generally. We are always in the mountain and walking. So we are sitting outside he was doing the cityscape. I was also doing the cityscape, same spot, but very different. It was quite challenging for me to myself only, because I was not used to going out and doing so much outdoor work. And it's a big learning process. Like you learn, and that you learn the color, the pigmentation, the confidence, everything. And the Kulu girl also, I was fascinated looking at them. They're so beautiful, innocent, and so hardworking. And so all over India is like this.
Yes, I think you capture the essence of the people and the climate around. Another thing to note in these works is Jayashree has not used any sketching. She has not used any drawing pencil. She likes to sometimes work directly with paint and brush. So you can see that here. And these are not, they're meant to be raw, and they come directly from her understanding and the nuances of the environs around her. Moving forward, Anushri, please. Thank you. Here we have Pushkar on the left. Again, she's an avid traveler, and this is Pushkar on your left and Jaisalmer on your right. And these are impressions she gets from those spaces. As can be seen, there is color all over in the Pushkar work. The strokes are always raw in Jayashree's paintings, but you also see the ducks repetitive in form. If you look at the sky is not the traditional blue, but there is color even there. So that's a very interesting thing. So Jayashree, I think you were influenced a lot with the Rajasthan, the Rajasthani colors and the vibrance, isn't it?
it was like when I went first time in Rajasthan, I was mad. I was just mad. So much color, beauty, everything. And I could realize that where nothing is there, art is there.
Yeah.
So they don't have anything, but they always try to create something beautiful that they can live an happy life.
Yeah.
If you go remote village of Kutch or Rajasthan, you see they don't have much things to eat or any luxury, but still they create something from the nature and they create so beautiful things. This is the wonder of the crafts and art. So
Yes,
that is
I think that is also something we see in Jaisalmer on your right. So the use of patterns, traditional patterns, and the works which have come down from craftsmen from generations. Jaishri tends to use those in her work. So you can see that on the work on the right, which is Jaisalmer, and you can see the triangular patterns on top. The use of the peacock and the way the pots are made, they're childlike, they're playful, but there is a comment on that as well. So,
yes.
Jashiji, a little bit about the use of you actually chose to make a peacock there, and
Because in Jaisalmer, there are a lot of peacocks here and there, and they live with that. This
right,
is so practical. What they live with, and this is, I must say, this is forever contemporary, forever beautiful, and
yes,
forever they live with this. And
mm,
how simply they convert it to a art, but it is not so easy
mm,
to convert anything very simple way. It's very hard to make it simple.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
also to get the childlike quality within it, I think it takes a lot to kind of go
Yeah.
directly to your subconscious and throw something out, because
Yes.
there's so many barriers we're all built with, isn't it? Coming to soul of the city. Now, this is actually a very important work in Jayasri Burman's career. This actually is talking about not only the natural landscape, but you can see buildings coming in now. Look at the skies. Her treatment of the skies and the treatment of the buildings is actually par excellence. With Jayasri's paintings, you feel like you're going through a journey. It is very difficult for you to actually have a glimpse of it. You have to sit in front of it and look through, because there are little things which will pop out from the works as you go along. Another thing to note in this work is the fact that you have mythical beings. Now these are beings which she has created, and these are people who are also ducks being her favorite. You will also see the lotus. Now do notice the lotus and where the positioning of the lotus is right now, and the way it is drawn and painted. Because when you see the later works, you'll see how it transitions into a new concept. Jayashriji, a little bit about this present work and also the use of the lotus on the tiara of the lady.
First of all, this has been done for the Asian Game, a Commonwealth Game.
Yes,
Commonwealth Game and Art Alive organized this big exhibition in I think in Lalit Kala Academy.
Lalit Kala.
So I got a good space to do a good big work. So it was quite big work for my standard.
Mm.
And I thought of Delhi, of course, it was happening in Delhi. And then I thought Mother India, she's holding a Delhi, something, very monumental, small little one. And the tiara and the lotus is the symbol of national flower of us. So we are presenting ourselves, we are presenting India, and she is holding the soul of the city.
So nature as actually holding cities
Yeah,
and
and I take all the time, all kinds of liberty to do to my fantasy world. So
yes,
that's why I thank to God, because I'm very blessed for that, as an artist.
absolutely. You can see the mermaid-like form going into the duck over here.
Yeah.
Very important transition.
This is how we would like to see our Delhi.
Absolutely.
Always.
Going forward, and here we have Jayashree ji at the Ghats. So, Jayashree ji, your relationship with historicity, your relationship with myths, with legends, with folk tales, and your reinterpretation with them in a contemporary art form is something which is very, very interesting and very, very unique to you. Because there are very few artists who've taken traditional, exceptionally traditional forms and kind of brought them back to life in ways and means which actually look contemporary, talk about contemporary subjects, but are coming from past heritage and tradition. So, Jeshiji, your relationship with water and two historical folks and legends. Let's have a little glimpse on that from you, please.
Water is very important in human life, not only human life, all life, first of all. Second, water is very important for us because for me, especially, this is River Ganga. Because I am inspired by Ganga. And the thing is that this is Benares is another, you can see really incredible India over there. You know, lots of things is happening together. For an artist to visit Benares is a pilgrimage. Like, you know what is real feelings of everything, the sadness, the celebration, the happiness, everything happening together on the cart. So I was mesmerized. I was trying to observe everything and putting inside me.
Yes.
So like it's like my heart was like a camera, like it was
Okay.
clicking everything.
Yes, and you can see that she's also done work in pen and ink and sketches, and she is not afraid of doing those. But she chooses her forms and her medium from what comes through her subconscious at that given point of time. Moving forward, Anushree, please. Ah, now we have Agamoni. Now, this is a style which Jeshiji is very much known for, and you have a whole pantheon over here. Jeshiji, let's take the viewers through this work, please.
Agumodi is invocation, like we pray goddess Kali, goddess Durga, who come to save us from the evil spirit. Sometime, and also natural calamities, when we see lot of storms happening, flooding and flood. So we pray God, please, God means like to pray the universe, and who is the our universe is Mother Goddess, Mother Kali, because we have given them that kind of a spirit.
Yes.
So this is the work for that, like.
Lovely. So this is an invitation to the gods to come and kind of nurture the world again.
Nurture.
Just to have a little kind of insight for our viewers here, her gods and goddesses, they are actually forms of energy, which though she talks about the folks and the legends, she's actually looking at energy, and she's looking at how nature works with man, and she sees nature in a personified form. So even so there'll be fusions between the traditional legend and nature itself, and you will see all sorts of mythical beings which are traditionally there, and also the ones which she has started creating on her own, and they come as she goes along. There is a treatment which is very delicate, as you can see, even in Biswanath Gully. Now, Biswanath Gully is actually Vishwanath Gully, which is at Banaras, Varanasi. And this is an actual place. And she has managed to make something very beautiful out of this. Uh, do note the textures and also the moonlight on the water and the moon behind. Very interesting way of doing it with a frame which is, which reflects the traditional patterns, and the baby frame our works in traditional arts and crafts. Jeshiji, a little bit about this, because this does have relevance to how you view your gods and goddesses to everyday people. So let's have that anecdote which you were telling me about earlier.
I was going through the all little gullies and marketplace in Benares, and suddenly I saw one very voluptuous, beautiful, big bindi, a woman with flower on her jura, and she was selling Shiva Lingam and other puja things. And looking at her, I had a that second only I felt that lady, she must be 60, but she is trying to look after her family or anybody, that to help them. And so she's so powerful, even in this age, she is trying to sell it. And and I saw her in a Vishwanath Gali when I was going to the Vishwanath temple. So
Right.
that's
So the reflection of the gods and normal people, you kind of fuse them together with nature. Again, the tiara comes up with the lotus actually now stemming over half the painting. So you can see how, she's growing with her iconography right here. To the next one, please, Anushri. Now we have some watercolor pen and inks, which Jeshiji had taken over. Now this particular work is very important because it gives you insight into how Jeshiji works with her art process. For her, it is not something which is a cutout box and she's already decided what is where. It comes as the transitions happen as she starts painting. So the whole process is very organic. Jeshiji, a little bit on Adbhuta, please.
Yeah, when I was doing this painting, you can see that lot of couples, children are playing around. Suddenly, that forms came, which is coming from the sky, and I thought this is very mysteriously unusual, very different, and everybody is looking at that figure, and it was a very unusual for me to just suddenly it came spontaneously in the form. So I enjoyed doing this painting. That's why I have kept this title, Adbhuta,
Yeah,
like
it's like magic.
magic.
Yes. And for everyone else, you see the person on top on the right hand side of your screen. He or she, and we don't know whether it's anthropomorphic, so we don't know whether what gender it has. But there is the a transition from a human being, into a swan here. And you can see other kind of the fusions between nature and man, which she's so known for. Going forward to the next one, Anushri, please. Yes, now we come to Moho. Moho actually, Moho is in Bengali, and Moho comes from Moh meaning attraction. So, Jayashriji, a little bit about this because it's a very important work. It talks about the transitions of the woman. Jayashriji, please enlighten us a little bit on this, please.
When you slowly grow up and then you grow up as a lady and then you have a baby and then you grow through a sansar and everything, and you all together you become a shakti. So this is the lady with a little boy and a little bird the boy is
Yes.
holding, and that little, and the next Nietzsche you can see the girl is also behind a
Yeah.
woman who is wearing a big like a goddess
Right.
Yeah.
here, and because she has become now goddess, she knows everything, she is full of energy and she knows everything. and,
Yes.
and top of everybody there is a little girl, and she is like opposite.
Right.
So she is saying, I am not with you all, so I want to detached. So this is detachment and attachment, this is moho,
Exactly.
like we are in
True.
between all the time.
Yeah, it's like an illusion which is happening. Now we were talking, Anushri, can you go back to the previous slide, please? So we were talking about how she uses the motive of the boy or girl with something in their hand. So do notice this as we go along. We saw that in the beginning when she was doing her works influenced from European masters, and now we see the first of these coming in here. This is 2006. You also see how the lotuses have started becoming bigger. She's doing her own artistic license she's taking, and you can see the flowers in the landscape behind in the sky over there. So you can see how her work is actually evolving slowly and surely. Going to the next one, please. Now we have now as we were talking, Jeshiji is very closely connected to heritage works in art, and she tries to work with these local artisans, etc., and tries to pull the legends, the folk tales, and all these things which are disappearing fast, and puts them in a more contemporary form in these stunning works of contemporary art. So Jeshiji, a little bit about Jeevan Dhara here, and the artisans you were involved with at that point of time.
Yeah. First of all, I was very inspired by Pottochitro because
Hmm.
I got to get some interactions with those Pottochitro artists.
Right.
So I got to know, and then I thought, why I can't paint something like that with my own observation.
Right.
So I did this. This is, you can see the Jeevan Dhara, like life goes start. We generally child, baby, like boy and girl, and then we start our samsar. This
Right.
samsar is the family. When we start thinking of family, how it goes through. So this is the story of that. And
Right.
lots of myth also has come, some fantasy I have done, because everybody has got their own fantasy world.
Right.
It's like it comes and goes, but it's like a river, it's like a jivan. In the life, you will get it.
Yeah, just like your understanding and concepts, your work seem to flow with all the folks and legends, and one thing melts into the other. And if you look very closely at your work, you can spend hours with it. This is a very interesting work called. Now, if you notice for the viewers here, you see these white stains. These are actually not white stains. These are done purposely by Jayasri, depicting the gullies of Benares, and it is a mixed media work because we have you see the little motifs of these gods and goddesses. These are actually pasted on. There is textile within this work as well, but together this collage actually collage of material actually works out to give you the essence of what Banaras is. Jayashriji, can you take us deeper into this, please?
This is Banaras, again, Banaras Gully, which I have experienced. And I could see so many, even now also when you go, you saw all the gullies have little temple. Each and every spot has something to see and to watch. And so I used some matchboxes, opened it, and I pasted it like a little small temple. And you could see from the far the Sindhu, the red and the orange, the colors. And Benares is our Indian, it's the best place where you can get the best textile. That's Banarasi. And I thought it's a memorable. And when I came back from Benares, like it was coming out from my heart like volcanoes. I was doing so many paintings and so many kind. So this
Right.
is one of the kind I have done. This is a collage.
Yes.
And I used matchsticks, like,
Yes.
lot of people.
Yes.
So I used matchsticks.
Yeah, you can see the chaos of Benares and the small gullies on the left hand side in the detail of the work. You can see the crowds, reminding you of the first works which you had of the Durga Pandal, where the people, so many people. I think you really vibrate with a lot of people around. Going forward to the next one, please. And here we have Jolo Yatra. Now, Jolo Yatra is basically a river walk, if I may say so, Jayashriji?
Yeah, it's a river.
Yeah. So again, I mean, the water plays a very important part in her works in a very different way. It is about the flow of life, and she decides to put the entire families and pantheons of gods, and they're not done in a kind of a religious manner. They're more done from her own fantasy and her own understanding of life and nature. So you see Buddha sitting with a Ganesh, sitting with a Durga, a Saraswati. It is interesting to see all of them together as if it is a dinner party or something.
Selling flour, and the little girl is selling flour and sitting on the crocodile.
Yes, and here again, your fascination for animals and birds and mythical beings is pronounced over here. Moving forward to the next one, please. Now we come to these two. Now these works are important. Seven. They are important works because there is a certain influence which happened over here. If you can see, most of Jeshi's works earlier were open works. They were not. There were one or two which were framed, but largely they had an open kind of a space. And in these two, she uses the negative and positive spaces within her works to kind of let the viewer in. Now, this kind of the this kind of framing is actually something she was influenced by two different cultures. So we let Jeshidi go through this with us and tell us about the anecdotes related to these two works. I think one was Egypt and the other one was somewhere in Europe, right?
Yeah, no, this is in Russia, St. Petersburg.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, okay.
So first I went to Egypt, and Egypt was the color, the sepia color, the tone, and the papyrus leaf, and all this I was fascinated, and how they do the darks and all.
Right.
So is like, Indian Saraswati sitting, in the Egyptian colors concept, landscape and waterscape, what you say. So
Right.
this is like that. The other one is the Lakshmi,
Yes.
because I went to St. Petersburg, I saw all their icons painting, a big, huge icon paints. And then
Yes.
I came back and I was thinking that we also have especially in Bengal, we do the Durga Puma, and behind that we make a arch like that.
Right. Right.
So, why I can do something like that, and try to do something different, and I can do it or not. I just
Mm.
experienced, but it came out very well.
Yes.
And so this is, and you can see the Lakshmi Devi has got the dhan. I don't know. That's
Yes. So the symbol of prosperity again, rice being the symbol of prosperity, and you have the moon
white owl.
has
In
you.
Bengali, we believe in white owl.
Yes.
That's very, very good for, it brings prosperity and everything.
Yes. I would also like to invite the viewers now to, if any of them have questions, if they can put it in the question and answer box. And as we go along, and at the end of this session, we will surely take all of them. Going forward, we have Jeshiji's favorite subject, which is Ganga Ma. And Ganga Ma coming from the river Ganges as the mother. Jeshiji has the figure of the mother as a central subject from which she speaks. And there's a reason for that, because she sees life and nature very closely, is related to gods, but also related to human beings as a kind of a transition between one to another. Jayashree, a little bit about Gangama, please.
Ganga is actually is a mother, you say, goddess, you say, whatever, but I am very inspired by her quality,
Right.
as knowing her history has been. So I'm very inspired,
Mm,
and I'm very fond of her.
mm,
And she is beautiful. She
mm,
has got the power like a sun. You can see the beautiful sunlight and beautiful sun around her. A lot of golds I have used.
yes,
And the crocodile is there. She's fearless.
yes,
And at the same time, she's keeping the harmony that you can see the ducks and lotus are around her.
right.
So this is the nature. We live with everything.
Yes, that's beautiful. Even the tendrils of her hair reflect like the lotus, the lotus vines below, right below over there. So there seems to be some sort of a synchronicity even in the patterns. And as far as the sunset is concerned, everything is bathed in orange, and it's like you're enveloped within it. Coming to Shanknath, another important work. This work actually has a very sculptural value to it, because when you look at the ornaments, etc., they seem to be popping out. And Jeshiji is very influenced also by the sculptures of the ancient temples, etc. And you can see that within this work. You understand that her patterns and the frames, they're getting more and more complex as we go along. But Jeshiji, a little bit about this particular work, Shanknath, please.
Yeah, this is first of all, you were talking about the jewelries. Jewelries are very important for human beings. As I said, even in Rajasthan, they are poor, but whatever from the nature they got, they make the beautiful jewelries. And we all like Rajasthani jewelry, silver and gold, everything. Exactly, because you express yourself through your jewelry, through your attire. Even you are wearing a white kapda, that
Mm,
has to be has something jewel kind of a things. That's
mm,
the style. That's very important for each and every human being.
mm.
So that's the thing we learn from our gods and goddess.
Right.
So try to make everything beautiful what you get. So
Yeah.
this is the story, and she is the powerful woman in our life.
So it's actually the metaphor for looking at a kind of beauty wherever you see whatever you see, and trying to see the beauty within it. Also, you find the ambis. Anushi, can we go back to the previous one, please? You have the ambis over there. Now, the ambis are these paisley-like patterns. They actually are a symbol of prosperity. And again, when Jeshiji is talking about her works, they're like invocations, and all of them have a certain context of prosperity and a kind of a wish for the viewer, whoever is watching or is looking at her works, a wish for that kind of amalgamation of nature and man, and also that kind of prosperity for everyone. And she uses God's legends and nature and in context with human beings for that purpose. Going forward, now we have Narayani. Now we can see a reflection of that here itself. Narayani being, I mean, we do have to understand the myths and mythology of, ancient India in this. But Narayani is the consort of Narayan. Now, Narayan is Vishnu, which is basically the god who maintains things. So, Narayani essentially is Lakshmi, which is the goddess of wealth. Here we can see how she has used the frame, and she's also got these elephants flying in the background in the skies. You can see how the lotuses have evolved on their own. The colors have changed. You can see the dexterity with which the entire scenario is presented before you. And two important things you can see at the back. If you look carefully, there are these two women in the background. Jashi ji, a little bit about Narayani, please.
So this show has been done by Art Alive Gallery. They did a show on Ravi Verma, inspired by Ravi Verma paintings. So I actually pasted Ravi Verma's small paintings, a mother and daughter and lady with those behind back of the main figure. You can see holding them. And also, Ravi Verma's painting, if you see, they talk all the time for the beautiful woman or woman, even she's simple, but she's full of beauty,
Yeah.
and, colors, jewelries, everything. So I thought this will be the perfect painting to tribute for him. So it was lovely. Again, I had used that arch.
Yes. And now we come to Swag Mela. Interestingly, you can see the diversity of, even though Jaishiji's works are very, very vibrant, and you feel like the reds overpower a lot of her works, but you can see the details in which how her color palette has also evolved over ages. And here we have a work from 2011. It's called Swag Mela, and you have the entire, again, a whole family. She has this, this plea for harmony within her works, and you can see that right here. Jayashree, just quickly we'll go through it because we're running short on time now.
This is a Shwarg Mela. This is like we have Mela, we do fair. Sark, there is a Mela going on, and all the Devis, they are having fun.
Lovely.
Lots
So
of fun.
yeah, you can relate to it as if you are in a part of this work, isn't it? Going forward, next one. And here we have Jaishiji, painting on board, and with her entire pantheon again of gods and goddesses, which are actually representative of human nature and human beings and nature itself. Going forward to the mythical universe, you find again another pantheon of gods. So when you look at the works, there is a certain kind of there's storytelling happening, but the viewer is actually left open to discover these things. You see how each god is relating to the other. There are and the open gaze of most of the women in this give you a strength of a sense of power which these women have inherently. A little bit on that, Jayashiji, the power of Shakti which you feel within your works, which we can see in most of the women here.
Actually, it's my journey. It's my journey in this mythical universe. Nothing I can say more than that, because I really worked very hard on this canvas, because you can see a lot of pen and ink and also oil painting. So I had to really struggle to get this effect. So I was very happy doing these, and I think you have explained very nicely about this.
Thank we can't just, I mean, it's amazing how you look at, you're considered a feminist in some ways, but actually you are somewhere a humanist, and you're looking at the power of the woman, and not to understate that, but you're also you have these elegant men as you have the women, and they have a grace as much as the women have. You can see here the color palette has changed totally. So it's not just red she's always painting, you see blues as well. And the famous ducks and the lotuses and the way they are placed, the placing and positioning is also something Jeshiji plays with, like child play. So you will find them as patterns as well. Going forward to the next one. And here we have Shiv Parvati. Again, the family. And you can see how her own elephant, the elephant mythical beings. And now you see the lotuses traveling into the sky with the blues and the purples. Jayashree ji, a little bit about Shiv and Parvati and
Harmony of
this work.
this is harmony of the family. This
Mm,
is love and affection and
mm,
sacrifice. If you go through the
mm.
mythological story, you know the Shiva and Parvati's relationship, how they loved each other.
Yes.
So, like, Shiva was the thunder and she was the peace, and both of them together, big Shakti. But
Lovely. So
keep
you're
it.
actually bringing out human nature through your works. And here, this is a very interesting thing, which actually it was a great honor, which the government of India decided to do commemorative stamps on Jayashree Burman's works. This was because this was on the occasion of Women's Day, and this is very important because Jayashree ji is actually one of the forefront Indian artists who have been looking at women and the power of gentleness and strength in a way which no one else has actually been doing. So, Jayashree ji, moving forward to Motherhood and Janani, which are the next works, it's interesting how we see in 96 the transformation from the left of the work on your left, which has Motherhood in pen and ink, and you have Janani on your right, which is in 2008, which is pen and ink again. So the evolution of the line, the form, the color, there you can see all of that. But she has not lost anything she picked up from her past, in the sense of she loves putting crowds together. You can see the lotus, the ducks, the little, the birds, the tiara. So the dynamics may change, but the core is actually similar. Jayashree ji, I really wanted to know this the piece of jewelry which you have on Janani on the right hand side. Was that inspired from some heritage form?
This actually in Bengal, in Durga, we have seen her wearing, they make beautiful jewelry for that on Shola. I don't know the
Right.
proper word in Hindi and English. That's
Right.
a kind of material they make. It can get a lot of forms, and they
Right.
make that. Also,
Mhm.
I got to know about Shat Nola har, like neck piece, like 7 string of neck piece and 9 string of neck piece.
Right.
That that is the grace of the woman. So
Lovely.
that's the thing. And also, I must say quickly, this I was traveling in the tribal places of like Odisha, Barmer, a lot of places. So you
Right.
see the tribe inspired by tribe women. And
Right.
so
Yes. So they are these everyday people, and you find them as
yeah,
nature goddesses and the like. And then we have Dharitri. Now, Dharitri is a recurring mythical subject which comes in her works. Dharitri here is looking sideways. If you've noticed earlier, the works would have the eye facing in direct gaze to the viewer. But here you have her sideways, and as we were talking, she's holding something in her hand. Jayashree ji, please enlighten us on this work, because this
this
is
is
a very important work and it's talking of social context. When we're talking about social issues, etc., you've also been at the forefront, but in a way with your own kind of dynamics and style. Let's talk about this work, please.
this is 2018. Few very badly rep cases we know all.
Mm,
So I was in pain.
mm,
So I get that pain. Still I can't forget. But
mm.
I thought that we have that Shakti, that power. Our upbringing is like that. We pray to Mother Goddess for what? For Shakti. So
Right.
like a tiger, like a tigress, we have to fight it out. We cannot cry and take everything. We also have to protect ourselves. We have to. The way we know the mythical stories, how Devi Durga, how Kali, how Draupadi has really, played a big role for this. So that's why my tiger came. That's why she's there. And she's telling to nurture a little young girl, which she's
Right.
doing.
Yes,
as God.
beautiful. Going forward to the next one, please. Anushri, next one. Okay. So here we have Tarang. We've talked about different colors in her works and the vibrance, even with the grays and the the blacks. There is a certain kind of vibrance in her works, which you can see right here with the ink and pen. And as you can see here, again the strands of hair, the way she makes them. Very interestingly, they feature like you have veins, of a winery, which you can see over here. And the mythical beings seem to be coming out of humans, and they seem to be merging with each other. So, a very beautiful work right here. Going forward, next one, please. Anushri, next one, please. Yes. And here we come to Abhayana, which means invocation. And here we have a goddess. And as you can see, there is water at the back. Now, water, this blue water, plays a very important part in Jayasriji's metaphor. And Jayashriji, I'd like you to kind of tell us a little bit more about the water and what it is doing.
She's calling the river to
Mm.
come to the earth and to make it more prosperous with the greens, with the more houses you can see, say
Yes.
with families. It's like it's growing, like you are.
So, would you call it, the blue water being a symbol of love and prosperity? Would that be correct?
Love, peace, harmony. You can see everything is there. You
Mm.
can see the little fish is there. You can see the all the shunk is there,
Mm.
and you can see the houses, little huts are there. You can see the trees are there. So everything is there.
Yes. So you refer to also beings which are there with us, around us, and then they transform into these mythical legends. So you're creating stories within the stories which we have around us. And here we have Dharitri again. Now, Dharitri this time is facing right dead center and looking at your eye. And she's holding a fish. So, Jashiji, a little bit about this one, please.
I live in Delhi. It's a lot of pollution. I had gone through few years. This year, after the COVID, it has become lesser.
Right.
But I must say, I was feeling even under the sea and in the river, the fish are suffering. So I was feeling from my heart, and I thought, Mother Nature is telling us, even the fish is suffering. Please take care of it.
Yes, and you can see the fish on top has a whole ecosystem. Jeshiji talks about ecosystems and preserving them.
Because
And here you see the entire
you can see
ecosystem.
the village, you can see the greeneries alive. So it's like ecosystem. It's like we look after each other, we nurture each other.
And
It's
that's
very
how we grow.
important
Yes,
at this
beautiful.
moment of our life.
Yes. Moving forward to the next one, please. And here we have Krishna. Now, this is an interesting work because now we come to a series which is seminal in Jeshiji's career. And this is actually the Draupadi series. Coming from the legend of Mahabharata, the Draupadi series. And this is Draupadi and Krishna at the back. But the negotiation within the work is not just about depicting a legend. It is about looking at how we as humans relate to each other and what is happening in society around us. So her works are very, very social issue based, which, if you take the time and look at them, of course, they're so beautiful, but when you look at it deeper, you will actually understand her narrative and her comments on, the social issues around us. Here again, you see Cheer Haran, which is a very dynamic work. Considering its watercolor pen and ink, the dexterity with which these works have been dealt with are incredible. Jayashree ji, please tell us a little bit more on this, please.
This is the painting Cheer Haran. Everybody knows the story. The Dushashan taking out her sari, and Krishna was, you can see the Krishna is giving her more sari that it will be never ending, that always it will be on her. But she was insulted in a Bhari Sabha in Mahabharata court, where all the wise, bold men were there, like Kamaha, Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Dronacharya, everybody. In front of them, it happened that she said that court is not a court and not good justice if that wise old men are not giving the support to the truth. And truth
Absolutely.
is
So
the
the quote which we see in the pattern around, which is the frame, is about justice and truth, and you have to stick to that. And that comment is there within this work. Interesting, Jayasri. Going forward to the next one, please. And here again, we have Prashna Vachini. Interesting way of depicting landscape, very different from her earlier way of the decorative, stylized ways of drawing her mountains, etc. But the reason is because this is another space she's talking about. Jeshiji, just very briefly, we are running short on time. So, very briefly, if you can just go through this.
when they were all Pandava and she was going to the to
Mm.
she's the one first, she died. And then she was asking God why I can't reach to the heaven,
Mm.
because I am the one who suffered. I have lost all my children, my family, my everything. And you made my destiny to come to this earth and fight for the justice. Then why I can't go?
Lovely. And here we have Anuragini, where you can see the blue at the back symbolizing love and harmony and the perfect families of the various gods and goddesses, talking about bonding, togetherness, but also sacrifice, which Jeshiji had mentioned before. Going forward, Anushri, to the next one, please. Now we come to her installations. Very interestingly, this Living Walls was made in 2013, but it is actually a very contemporary work taken from, heritage traditions, which people may have a distaste for these days. But Jeshi Ji sees another angle to it and another perspective, which is very refreshing. Jeshi Ji, can you take us through this work, please? Quickly, please.
This is the work like, primordial power. Like
Mm.
we pray, we go to the temple and we give something with some kind of a faith that we will get some power and shakti. Somebody has cancer and
Mm.
she has gone to the temple to give a
Mm.
chandar and
Mm.
to get what? She knows that she's going to die.
Yeah.
She wants the strength. So
Yeah.
all kind of religion, generally, we have this kind of thing, prayer.
Right.
So I always get very fascinated looking at those powerful faith on the power.
So what you're actually talking about is how belief and faith works for people, whether it's external or internal, right? And moving on to these couple of images which are going to be shown later. Sunena, I'd like you to kind of take this over because we're talking about how Jeshiji looks into details of things where most people just walk past. So, Sunena, if you can take this over, please.
It's been very fascinating. I've known Jayashree for almost 20 years, but all through this conversation last half an hour, it's been very interesting to see that how her, her interest and her, her work is becoming more and more vocal about social issues, as we have seen and through the presentation, and looking at her sculpture, which are almost three-dimensional forms, and she visits Kamartuli so often whenever she's in Calcutta, I can see that how they become three-dimensional forms. And the Ganesh Janani, it was one of the first works that she did. But seeing now this recent work that we can see now, the sculpture, the tiger, which is actually talking about what she was just saying about her feelings about how women, atrocities on women, the rape cases, and just she tell us something about this sculpture, but it's very different from your earlier sculptures that other sculptures that you've been doing, and we'll see further. This is a,
I took all kinds of liberty to do these sculptures.
yeah, I can see
Uh,
that.
Joy, I put
Mhm.
a lot of bits on him and,
Mhm.
to get that rough and tough look, like she don't care, she doesn't care anything.
Yeah, the expression is such, yes.
Expression I wanted to get out of him, and I put this sculpture with the 33 painting for the
Yes.
title, because
Yeah.
that 2018 works. I wanted
Yeah.
to, express my
Mm.
anger and to fight it out with these kind of things happening with the woman.
And also the whole treatment of the work, tell us something about the treatment, because it's very different from your bronze sculptures. Here, the treatment is very different.
The shine of the color, and these colors are little bit come from the light sun. Like the sun, you get that yellow shine color, which
Mm.
is very powerful. And the white is the very straightforward. It means like very straight, crystal clear.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other part about this work, which is very interesting, is without the presence of the Shakti, the
Yeah.
inherent
Yes,
energy of
yes.
the goddess, or what is lies between all human beings,
Yeah.
there is that latent energy which is shown just through the presence of the tiger itself. Very interesting, Jeshiji. Moving forward to the next one, please. And here we have Ganga again in bronze. You've seen her works in drawings and paintings, and now you see it in sculpture. The essence and the energy of the form and the way it works is as gentle, as flowing as ever. And then we come to Dharitri again. This work we very proudly have with the RMZ Foundation, and it is showcased in Bangalore. So if any of you are in Bangalore, do come and see this. But moving forward on this particular work, I'd actually like Mrs. Menda to connect with Jeshri on it, because they have some very interesting memories together when this work was made and installed. Ms. Menda, if you could come, please. And
Yes, I think we met on an official capacity in 2016 at the launch of our, our public arts platform. And what was interesting, I think, in her career, she was at the point where her vivid imagination and her expressions were now going from 2D, which she was very well recognized for, into the 3D format. And here she was, this poised lady, so patient, articulate. We were blessed that she was with us on the launch evening. And if I recall right, she was the only lady artist that we had for the evening. And we couldn't have a better person there, because she brings out the woman past so beautifully. And she was articulate and she was so narrative in explaining, and all the onlookers were just fascinated with the attention to detail. And she was taking everyone through the whole imagery that was in front of them. It was just a very special evening for us.
love.
So yes. So Jayashree, I was trying to understand, with your vivid imagination and your creative and the way you recreate legends, it would be very interesting to know how you would imagine the future of the arts, and where would you think the artists going forward should be focusing upon, and what should they be looking on?
Jeshiji?
It's a beautiful questions, because now science has gone, like, it is unlimited. Every now and then something new are coming, new medium has come, lot of new mediums has come. So youngsters are really doing very well, and they are producing beautiful, interesting works, very nice works. And I hope there will be some unique, fantastic work we are looking forward. We will see more and more. But one thing I feel, that you should not lose your soul when you are using some kind of instrument. So you have to be careful, because you have to put your heart over there. But like, you have to put your intelligence, your intellectual thing, at the same time your heart, because you cannot forget your heart. Artists, they do everything from the heart. So that is very important. Without her, there is no life. So I think that's my message to the youngsters.
So
Thank you.
art practice is like sadhana, and I think that's what you really...
You have to devote yourself. Never walk thinking that when I will get this fruit, when I will just produce. No, you have to really give yourself lot of sacrifice, lot of time consuming things. You have to take it very seriously. Just, I can paint something, that's why I'm an artist. You cannot ask. Even till now, I'm not so happy of myself. I feel I have to really work very hard. I have to think more hard. I have to go deeper and deeper. So each and every moment of an artist is like you are learning something new, and that you come to your work, bring back to your work.
Lovely. So the journey never actually ends. It's actually the journey which is the interesting part of an artist's life, and that's where evolution happens. So, Jeshiji, we would have loved to continue the conversation another few hours, and we can go on forever. But with the limitation of time, I think we have to wrap up. But before that, we'll just take a couple of questions which we've got here. Of course, there are a lot of comments which are all praise for you. But I'm just going to, with the shortage of time, I'm just going to take this one question which is very interesting, which talks of, as an artist, she has impressions of her travels and socio issues reflecting in her work. This is coming from Kuntala Sengupta. But what is her take on the perennial self-portrait? Jeshiji, if you could answer that.
Yeah, of course, self-portrait, it comes, but I think I don't do my self-portrait. I think of my mother, because my mother had curly hair and beautiful eyes, and she actually was middle of all the family members, looking after everybody. So like, I think I do paint her more, but a lot of people, they say, I look like my mother. Maybe I am.
So Jeshiji, it actually, I think your mother kind of became a symbol of harmony, and you know how what the family and love and togetherness is about, and we see that in the works as well. Very
Yes.
interesting analogy and a metaphor with
Looking after everybody households at 9 o'clock at night, she used to go to the rooftop and play her sitar with full of rasa and romance.
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. You have been very blessed to have been in such a background and have seen such experiences. And we are so thankful that you're actually lending those to your artworks and sharing this with the world outside, because otherwise these would have have been lost to history. A lot of the legends and a lot of the myths and the analogies actually are alive again through your contemporary art forms. Thank you for all that and more. And we hope to have this dialogue going further as well. And at RMZ Foundation, we'd like to work further with you to see how we can actually revive the heritage and crafts and art into the present forms. But thank you all viewers for this, for coming today and being a part of this conversation. We'd also like to take the chance to thank everyone, including the people behind the scenes working with us, and wishing everyone a very happy new year, and looking forward to the next ones, next conversations which we'll have together. Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you,
thank
Mrs.
you.
Menda.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jayashree.
Thank you. Thank you,
Look
everybody.
forward to a good 2021.
Yes,
Meet
an inspiring and creative one.
everyone. Yeah. Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you,
Thank
Anu.
you, everyone.
Have a
Thank you.
Thank
wonderful,
you.
evening.
Thank you, Anu.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you.